It's going to be hard to get another dime for this war as it continues to spiral. I don't know what the administration's going to do, but it has a big, big, big task on its hand over the next couple of weeks.
Good morning, I'm Anna Palmer.
And I'm Jake Sherman.
Welcome to the Daily Punch, brought to you by Punchbowl News. It's Thursday, March 19th, 2026. My sister's birthday, Jake.
Happy birthday to your sister.
Leah Palmer, a listener. Let's get into the mix. Here are your Washington headlines of the day. Number one, Congress won't be able to avoid the Iran war for much longer. Number two, what Nvidia's CEO told us. Well, Diego Munhoz, who's out in California talking to him. And number three, concern over the SAVE Act derailing Republicans' messaging for the midterm rises. All right, Jake, let's get into it. We have a really important top here. So far, Congress has not been weighing in, using its power of the purse or the power of war powers resolutions, try to rein in or give, advice to President Donald Trump. But things are escalating in the Middle East, and boots on the ground seem like a real possibility, potentially.
Yeah, as I was telling you off camera, we had a whole other edition prepared before late last night when it became clear that there were plans, at least, for boots on the ground. And let's say this, I talked to the White House last night. They say they've never ruled out boots on the ground, and the president's given all sorts of possibilities. But this war is widening. Like, you gotta say that. We're gonna talk about this with Jim Banks on Flyout Day today, which I'm excited to tape in a couple hours here. Not at 4:49 in the morning, but at some point today. This war is widening, and the White House is considering, per Reuters, sending thousands of U.S. troops to the Middle East. Could include the use of U.S. ground troops on the Iranian shoreline on Karg Island. A key Iranian oil transfer facility would be a dramatic escalation. And Congress would have to be involved here. The fact that Iran, without repercussions, basically, without being able to be stopped, that they've blocked the Strait of Hormuz, which controls 20% of the oil supply in the world. It has triggered a global energy crisis and caused oil prices to soar to $114 a barrel. But equally as important, the Israelis attacked the South Pars gas field, and Trump lashed out at that. And Iran has struck back by hitting a Qatari liquefied natural gas facility Wednesday. This is spiraling, Anna. It is spiraling into, it's already a regional conflict. It's spiraling into a more serious regional conflict.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing happen here, right, is Iran is pushing back, obviously very aggressively in the region. And the other point that I think is important is Trump has looked to longtime allies of the U.S., which he has had a sometimes fraught relationship with, or has tried to push them to increase their spending in NATO and other things. And those leaders are saying, nope, we're good. We are not interested in getting involved in this conflict, right? Trump's publicly furious over the refusal of England and other allies. They're saying, nope, we're not going to send warships to join in the conflict. Suggesting he might even pull out of NATO. This is becoming, it feels as though, a U.S. obviously led conflict, but there's not a lot of friends who are willing to stand behind the country here or behind Trump.
Yeah, and we now see that there are senators who are saying, if you're putting boots on the ground here, you've better come up and talk to us. Lisa Murkowski told Brianna last night, Secretary Rubio said that he's not having boots on the ground. And if you have a change in that, you need to come up and talk to us about that.
Yeah.
And I will say once again, like, Congress has a role here if it decides to exert it. And you could, so yesterday a war powers resolution failed. These things might start passing if there are boots on the ground.
Well, even just in our conversation a week ago with Senator Hawley, and over again, all of these Republicans we've been talking to on Flyout Day or at different events have really kind of said it needs to be quick, end needs to be, in sight. They've already moved 2,200 Marines. They're moving them into the region right now. This is more of an escalation and not mission accomplished. Right.
No,
That's the big challenge here is not only are you doing that, but a lot of members don't seem to have a understanding of what success or what the end game really is. And that gets really tricky. Not only boots on the ground funding it, which is going to be the next big thing that's certainly going to happen. And to your point, do these war powers resolutions start passing, right? You had Rand Paul kind of supported, he was the one Republican, but are there others that start to say, hey, this is a bridge too far for us?
Just one last thought here. The Washington Post reported last night that the Pentagon is asking for $200 billion for the war. They probably are overshooting. They could ask for what they want. That's not an official request. But we reported that it's $100 billion plus. This is where Congress is going to have a role, and they could put it in a reconciliation package. It's going to be hard there. It's going to be hard to get another dime for this war as it continues to spiral. I don't know what the administration's going to do, but it has a big, big, big task on its hand over the next couple of weeks.
Other quick thing in the top we talk about is the DHS vote incoming. Wow. It was a shocking Senate confirmation hearing that got tense and personal before ending in a trip to the skiff. Usually senators who go into administration, there's a bit of collegiality that are around it, but Senator Markwayne Mullin's nomination to lead the Department of Homeland Security, it was something to behold, Jake. I've seen a lot of hearings.
Yeah, it was. Markwayne Mullin got an earful from Rand Paul, who's going to vote against him, the chair of that committee. Markwayne Mullin basically said he understands why Rand Paul's neighbor attacked him. Not a great way to get votes. But there were serious questions about Markwayne Mullin's contention that he was basically on a secret mission overseas as a member of Congress. I don't know what to say about that. I've been covering this stuff for a while. I've never heard of members acting as secret agents or whatever he's claiming he's doing. I talked to a bunch of people who were in the leadership at that time who kind of said, don't remember that angle. But we'll have to see how this turns out. I think he still gets confirmed, but what a bizarre day.
Committee vote this morning with Paul not voting for him. They need probably Senator John Fetterman.
Not probably. They'll definitely need John Fetterman. So John Fetterman has said he's voting yes. Let's see what he does.
All right, Jake, let's go to the number 2 story of the morning. Nvidia is back in business with China. Diego is reporting, and Congress is going to be watching that extremely closely. In an interview Wednesday with Nvidia CEO, he told us the AI giant's H200 chips will make their way into the Chinese market as early as a few weeks. It could take a little longer as the company has to restart its whole supply chain after both Washington and Beijing created roadblocks to selling the chips to China. But big news out of California, Jake.
Oh, yeah. And this is a big story. They are going to sell the H200 chips to China as early as a few weeks. Nvidia has not heard from the Chinese government. Businesses in China have been making purchase orders signaling they're authorized to receive the chips. But this is going to upset China hawks in a big way. China hawks in Congress sounded the alarm earlier about the Trump administration allowing Nvidia to send H200s to China, but he will make the push early next year for Nvidia to sell Blackwell chips to China. It's more advanced than the H200. Trump has not allowed that so far, but listen, Nvidia is one of the most powerful and important companies on the planet right now. Whether Congress is upset or not, Trump's going to do what he wants, to be honest with you. And I'm very happy we have this interview from Diego, who is one of our great tech reporters.
All right, let's run to the number 3 story of the morning. The GOP frets the SAVE Act could undermine their midterm messaging. I mean, this to me is so emblematic of where the president is versus where a lot of members of Congress are when it comes to what they should be talking about, what they should be focused on going ahead into the 2026 midterm. Trump saying the Save America Act is the biggest priority, needs to be passed. Without it, they won't win the midterms. But a lot of Republicans, including Senate Majority Leader John Thune, saying affordability, thinking about, I'll quote him directly, the reason people want to vote for Republicans in the midterm is obviously going to be about the economy and making sure that we are taking the steps to make life more affordable. That is not the SAVE Act, Jake.
Right. It is not. Listen, the base might be deflated if the SAVE Act isn't passed or if they don't make some sort of valiant effort to get it done. But everybody kind of understands that this election is mostly going to be about affordability. Now, if Republicans lose the House or the Senate or both, Trump is going to say it's because the SAVE Act isn't passed, or if it's not passed, which I assume it won't be. But there's a lot of angst about this, that they're getting caught in this long argument about this. And it's interesting. I said this a couple weeks ago. If Republicans made this about voter ID, not mail-in balloting, not all this other stuff they're making it about, it would have passed, I think, because Schumer has said we're for voter ID.
Yeah.
I think it would still be tough, but I think they can get 60 votes on a straight-up voter ID bill, like almost definitely. And I think that would have been a political pickle that Republicans could have put him in. Instead, they're caught in this widening discussion about all sorts of other things that, mail-in balloting, which Republicans are even uncomfortable with. So,
I don't know. Hard to think that talking about the filibuster, maybe it motivates some folks who are really keyed into this. But when you're explaining Senate procedural rules and why you've wanted to vote for something, but then have to vote against it, it becomes,
yeah,
I
dude.
think, pretty difficult.
Yeah, this is not a winning argument. There's not a winning argument talking about all this stuff, I don't think.
All right, we're going to wrap it there, but I do want to flag we have our second installment of our AI Innovators Project. I encourage you to check that out at punchbowl.news. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. Have a great day and stay safe, everybody.